Welcome back, viewers at home, and thank you so much for tuning in right here on INX Prime, channel 345. Now, you are definitely tuned in to our Monday motivation series where we bring you inspiring stories and motivational insights from dynamic individuals who are making a real impact. Today, we welcome Tlotlo Ngwenya, who is a passionate leader and business consultant with Wealthtec Academy. Tlotlo has a strong background in leadership and language dynamics, where he unlocks the power of communication to bridge cultures and transform minds. Tlotlo, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Prime Live.
Good evening. You know, it's so exciting hearing you reading all these things, and I'm like, yeah, wow.
I've come so far, hey? Now, just getting to knowing you as an individual, can you just give us a background story on who Tlotlo is about, as well as just sharing in what really sparked your passion for leadership as well as language dynamics?
Sure. An interesting question, I have to say, and I have to acknowledge it. I think one of the key things that I have to say is that I'm from Zeerust, a small town in Northwest. It's a small town, nothing fascinating about Zeerust, but I believe that one of the key things that I got to learn was these principles of how to make it from a small village to the city. And knowing how we do things differently, it gave me this passion that, you know what, as a young boy from the village, I have to be here and I have to make a mark and I have to be focused. And one of the interesting things that's where the languages come in was that I used to have a stuttering problem. So I was like, once I can start how I can know how to speak fluently, oh my word. From that day, I will start speaking like no one's business. And it just happened. And, you know, it just boosted my self-esteem. I won't lie. And everywhere where I'm around people, I found it exciting for me to speak, only to find out that because of that burning passion to make it in the city, I think it aligned me obviously in the correct path. And that's where I was able to lead in your higher learning institutions like TUT and to institutional SRC, which is all SRCs in the country. That was exciting, and till where I am now. As a business consultant, nothing that I ever thought I would do. But what I'm trying to show you is that principles of a young boy coming from a village were able to play a very vital role when coming to the city. And unfortunately, I didn't find myself lost because that purpose has always been there and that principles.
Just for insight, so how many languages can you speak?
That's an interesting one. I think for now I can at least speak Afrikaans.
Okay.
I can speak English. I'm getting to learn Zulu so well, so at least now. And I'm learning sign language as well.
Wow.
So that's something that I'm trying to push. It's not easy, but I can greet.
Now, earlier on, you did mention that you've held several leadership positions. I believe you are RCL Provincial President and SRC representative at TUT. I want to know from you, these experiences, in what way did they then shape you to become this individual that you have become currently speaking? And what insight did it give you in terms of understanding leadership, especially in a youth-driven environment?
Sure, I have to tell you that once you are a leader, you know, there are certain things that you cannot do anymore. How you have to understand that you inspire, you live to inspire. You've got people looking up to you, whether you know it or not. So how you dress, how you carry yourself, how you do things everything changes about you. You know, the decisions that you take on a daily basis, you have to understand that decisions are not only impacting your life, by the way, but they are also impacting other people's lives. So it means that you have to live in a particular manner. And I would love to believe that you can only live in that particular manner if there are certain principles that governs you, which is humility, you know, which is respect, which is love, which is having a big heart for everyone that you are leading, because you cannot lead people Once you don't have that big heart, we have this to say that people fell first and you after. So having that, I would love to believe that it has shaped me to be a different person. And I would love to also make this remark to say that maybe if we can have such leaders who put people first, we wouldn't be in the state that we are in as a country, because we would understand that people come first and the leader comes after.
Ooh, that was quite inspiring. Now, I'm seeing that at Wealthtec Academy, you are also a business consultant. I want to know from you, what does your role look like at the Wealthtec Academy, as well as how does it allow you to continue your mission in inspiring growth as well as impacting lives?
So, Wealthtec allows me an opportunity to not really limit myself, especially when coming to leadership. Remember, I'm a business consultant. So my role is very simple. I have to get them projects. So I don't have someone I account to on daily or on daily basis per se, because the project will tell if I'm working or not. It's like being a coach of a soccer team. Everyone gets to be the judge because of the outcome, and the outcome should be the goal. We don't care how the boys played. What we care about it's the outcome of the whole match. So it's the same thing as me. So I've got all this free time to do my motivational speaking, to speak to young people, to inspire, to also try by all means to improve myself, because I always say that every day should be it should be a day where I take my first step. Because if I were to look at all the steps that I have taken, I would believe that I have arrived. But each and every day, if I take a step looking forward to the goal, it feels like it's a brand new step. So it gives me that excitement and that drive to want to make it, and I think that is how I'm able to still motivate young people. That is how I'm still able to be relevant to our young people. That is why, if you can see, there's a lot of talks that I've been doing to inspire young men and speaking to them of how we should do things right. That's how I am able to impact the society currently. And it is more based on leadership, on education, and just having a different lifestyle as a man. Yeah.
One thing about communication, a lot of times we find ourselves in conversations around, communication is key. How do we master communication? And I believe you are someone who believes that communication is quite central. It's quite a central theme in your career. I want to know from you, how effective can communication actually bridge cultural divides and also promote unity, considering, how diverse South Africa is?
Sure, I have to acknowledge that South Africa is a very diverse country, but one of the biggest things that we should look, especially when coming to the communication perspective, we have to. I'm glad that there's an integration of different languages, and they are well recognized. I mean, even with the sign language, currently it's being recognized as the official language. And one of the key things that language has, especially when coming to the diversity of this country, is that we are able now to recognize each and every one. We are able to express ourselves in our own languages. It's no longer so foreign to find Tlotlo being able to speak Zulu. That is why we've got translators. That is why we've got interpreters. We acknowledge. And even in church settings currently, or different settings, I see they've got sign languages. You go to your parliament, they've got sign language, meaning to say that you can still be a member of parliament and not be able to speak. For example, being deaf, if I may put it like that. So this shows the diversity of how South Africa has managed to really be diverse and recognize everyone, and it's something to really at least be proud of. And I think we are on the right direction when coming to diversifying our communication and ensuring that we are inclusive, especially even when coming to the policies, to the language policies of the country currently, the way how the rollout plan of it, I think it is very inclusive, and it allows one to express themselves in any language. So it is a great thing. I think when coming to the Minister of Sports and Arts, they are doing it very well. We must give them a thumbs up.
Now, just coming back to the conversation of, diversity of South Africa, would you say that it is enough for you to understand the language and not being able to speak the language?
So I would love to believe that there's no way you can understand. Well, you can understand the language and not be able to speak it, but I would love to believe that, for the mere fact that Tlotlo can understand English, there's something that should probe me to want to speak the language. There's something that would want to probe me to, when I speak the language, I should act in a particular manner, because you have to understand that when coming to languages, there's what we call their cultural backgrounds that comes with the language. So you have to understand the culture that comes with the language. You have to understand the charisma, for example, that comes with the language. There are certain jokes you can make in English which won't be funny to a person who speaks. So you must be able to draw the line. And for you to understand this particular language, you have to know the cultural background. You have to know the societal background of the language. So there's more actually that comes with me just being able to speak the language. There's a lot of insight that one should have for one to be able to proudly speak a particular language.
Now, Tlotlo, I believe you work with the likes of professionals as well as students. What would you say are the most, common challenges they face in the sphere of language barrier and the likes, and how do you actually help them overcoming it?
So when coming to the one, at least English has managed to become a central integrated language that more or less of us are able to speak. But when coming to the challenges that come with this, with these young professionals, it's more or less our Africa. I think we have sidelined our African languages in a way. We have more or less prioritized this modern English or modern languages more than our mother tongue, because I think we have been given this picture that not speaking your language or only speaking English is cool. I think we have come to a point where we are trying, especially now that it's heritage, we are trying by all means to ensure that we make African languages cool. We make African languages to be languages that we can express ourselves at any time and point, without feeling somehow. That is why we've got Amaxhosa. I don't know if you know the brand. That brand has got a very powerful Pan-Africanist history that comes with it. There's a language of Amaxhosa being spoken, and that brand is going global. We saw this woman from the States of Obama wearing the South African brand. So it shows you that African languages, now it's narrating something that we have never thought it would be able to narrate. So we are saying to South Africans that, believe you me, there's nothing wrong with being African. There's nothing wrong with expressing yourself in your particular language besides English. So it's something exciting.
Now, one thing for sure, we love seeing such individuals who actually shine such a very bright light to the diversity of South Africa in terms of African cultures. I mean, the Tebo Makukus and the Amaxhosa brands and the likes. It's something that makes us actually feel quite proud. But Tlotlo, thank you so much for joining us this evening and just giving us a slight reminder now that tomorrow is Heritage Day, to ask ourselves to say, yes, you might understand isiZulu, but what efforts are you taking to be able to verbalize yourself in your understanding? But thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for the opportunity once again.
Viewers at home, that was the business consultant for Wealthtec, sharing in the ideas on all things language and the importance it plays in our roles. That's where we leave it for now.